Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 7 Premium British Battleship, Nelson. As far as my build is concerned, it's very vanilla. If you've played American battleships, you pretty much know what works on these guys. Concealment, you kind of want to improve your turret traverse with expert marksman. I like to pick up vigilance just because it's so important that you don't take torpedoes or minimize the torpedo damage. They really do hurt the British battleship line. Superintendent, super strong because you get the super heal on the Nelson, and I'll describe that in a little bit. Advanced firing training to extend that short range AA that is fantastic, but it's very personal, and you need as much time because good players are going to minimize the time they're actually over the target. Shocker, I know. So we're on the map, neighbors, and we're in the Nelson. We're top tier. This is the best case scenario. 406mm guns is a fantastic gun caliber as top tier. Now, I'm sure many of you can recognize that the main armament is forward-mounted. Other ships that are similar, Izumo and Dunkirk. Now, Dunkirk has the benefit that the quad mounts, there's only two of them, so there's no issue with the gun having to be faced backwards in order to have the rotation. The Izumo has the number 3 gun facing to the rear. So what that causes is you have 2 gun turrets that rotate very similar to each other, but you have a third one that basically goes inverted of it. So most of the time with the Izumo, you can't use that third gun turret as often as you would like. Not the case with the Nelson. The Nelson has all 3 facing forward. They are completely usable. The only thing you have to do is widen your stance. Now, when you widen your stance, that will make you susceptible to one of the glaring weaknesses of the Nelson, the Citadel. Now, hopefully that slide was very useful for you. I showed the waterline. It is massive how much of the Citadel is above waterline. Very familiar to Montana, Iowa, Missouri players. However, those 3 ships have been buffed. This has not. This has the high Citadel because the heal is so powerful. The heal is going to be the super heal that you will become familiar with as you go up the British battleship line and get access to the line or the Conqueror. Both of those ships have it. British cruisers have it. Obviously, British cruisers aren't battleships, so it's a really big deal. It's a really awesome effect. It heals for a ton. It defaults to 2. You get your premium, you get a 3rd, and then if you have superintendent, you get a 4th. I think that's absolutely the right way to play these guys. I take a lot of damage between the Citadel that is a country mile above the waterline, very easy to damage. I've been Citadeled at very weird angles. You just would never think you would get Citadeled there, and it happened. Very similar to the Montana, very similar to the old Iowa. I'm sure many of you are having flashbacks to that, and you're going, I don't like that. But the heal is so powerful. If you are able to use a strategy where you have a forward position bow angled tanking, you can basically have your Citadel immune unless you are bottom tier or mid tier. Since it's a tier 7, you've got 25mm bow, which will be no problem for other Nelsons, the German battleships at 380, British battleships at 381, and the 406 that the Americans bring. You will have to deal with it. And how do you deal with it? Avoid contact with those ships for as long as possible. Do damage from range. Rely on your teammates to overwhelm. I like to take away the support crew of the enemy battleships that can overmatch, because there's really nowhere you can hide. This nose is massive. Having said all that, the heal more than makes up for a lot of damage you will take from destroyers, cruisers, and even a lot of battleships. you will just be able to heal for pretty much everything that is not a citadel. And that is a massive, massive, massive benefit. I have come back, no joke, from 64 health. I got back up to 20,000 and continued the fight all the way to the end. No other battleship can do that. No other battleship currently in the game can recover that much. That's a huge deal. That puts you outside of a single one-shot, unless, of course, they get your citadel. But if you were that low, you would go as tanky as you possibly could go. Now, notice what these guys were doing. They were stuck in the smoke. They were detected. I fired at them. I was switching between HE, AP, and it ended up working out perfectly. I think I HE citadeled him. 406. That's a big gun caliber, especially for a Brit at this tier. Most British battleships have either 356, 381, something in that realm, not 406. The guns are definitely fantastic. Could the rate of fire be slightly better? Yes. You do feel the 30 seconds. And it's not like, 30 seconds is so bad, but coming from other British battleships, it feels slow from a rate of fire standpoint. And you can't really improve that. That's just the nature of the Nelson. But it's really effective going left to right. Fast turret traverse. Very fast turret traverse. With my Dunkirk commander, it's something like 36 seconds. So it's very easy to switch back and forth and really play the field, so to say. I love being one of those annoying battleships, approach the smoke, change your direction, and then change it again. And you still have your guns facing forward. And it feels really nice to try and deal with torpedoes that way. Other battleships, you really can't change that often. You have to more play with your throttle, and that leaves you open to gunfire because you're a large target that's not moving, right? So I really like that the forward-mounted gun system allow for an aggressive push forward, but it also allows you to engage port or starboard very easily. You don't feel over-encumbered by your guns. If I was playing something like a Japanese or even an early tier American, it feels really slow, right? It feels extremely slow on your guns. Not so with the Nelson, and not so with any of the British battleships that I found, except for maybe the Queen Elizabeth. Let's not talk about that. In this game, we've done pretty well. I've been able to engage the primary flank, push with the team, bow facing. It really does allow for a cascade effect. With a large nose like this, you can just move forward and always engage with your guns. And you always have your best armor facing forward. You don't have to do anything trickery or anything like that. Enemy Arizona, going to engage with my HE, and some people go, oh, look at this. Look how much damage you passed up. Well, I don't know that I passed up that much damage. We did 84. We set 2 fires. If he allows the fires to burn, that's a significant amount of damage. I did switch to AP because AP should be a higher damage output against a broadside battleship. It is 406, but I'm struggling with, should I go at the waterline or midship? 460 is a large gun caliber, but I don't really get a lot of citadels on an Arizona or a New York or a Colorado. 7400 is pretty good. It's only 4 shells. And I wish I had more actually make contact with the ship. That is a weird feeling on these bow-facing guns with the Ismo and the Dunkirk. It just feels like a shotgun sometimes, right? You just miss all over, or it's perfectly accurate. Sometimes the RNG is just not in your favor. Team was able to take out the Arizona. We've got an enemy Nagato facing forward, and we're at about, 38,000, right? We'll see how this goes. He's going to show his broadside. I'm just trying to get my third gun in position before I fire. Once I see it light up, I'm ready to go. I go midship. You can kind of see how it does spread out like a shotgun. But 13,000 is pretty good, right? Now, in order to bring that third gun to bear, I did have to widen my stance a little bit more than I'm comfortable with. And I think this enemy battleship is going to punish me any second now. I was expecting him to engage the friendly Gneisenau now, but you can see how wide our stance is, and I'm going to fire at the waterline. 25mm bow, 406, absolutely overmatches that. And we take him out, but he just got a citadel. That's an issue. So I think every single time as the Nelson commander you are using your third gun, you are susceptible to a citadel. Absolutely guaranteed. If you see an enemy Nelson firing their third gun, you can citadel them from your angle. If you have a reasonable gun caliber, equal tier or what you expect. So the final opponent, we go midship. Looks pretty good. It feels pretty good as we kill the enemy battleship. And the game is ours. So the Nelson, super solid guns, below average armor, but the heal will compensate for that. In a 1 versus 1, you'll get overwhelmed quickly if more people are targeting you at the same time. Pick this if you prefer guns. Pick the hood if you prefer armor. The Nelson will be going on sale today or tomorrow for 375,000 free XP. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.